Back in 2007, the greatest film of all time was made. It answers many questions regarding the duality of the individual. What are the instincts we have, and which one should we follow? What are the consequences of self-satisfaction? Are we what we are, or are we what we do? Are evil actions done in ignorance still evil? Who is evil, and who is misunderstood? Of course, I'm talking about The Last Vampire on Earth. I was gonna do the big Jokeroo bait and switch like, oh, you thought I was talking about Spider-Man 3? Ha! You fools! I was actually talking about The Last Vampire on Earth. But The Last Vampire on Earth came out in 2009, and I was the fool all along. So I guess I just need to find out what else came out in 2009 that works. The comparison still kind of works. Essentially, these are the same movie. If you disagree, we can fight. Riding off the high of the Twilight fever, producer Vitaliy Versace decided to take a swing at the supernatural and release his own vapid, vampish movie on an unsuspecting public. And if you want to have the most fun a person can have on IMDb, you can look them up and see a catalog of other movie knockoffs that range from silly to downright sinful.
You black. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Most of them having a religious angle.
Okay, so this is editing Elias here. It looks like Kristen found, while I was editing, that Vitaliy Versace did a movie. Let me check for you. All right. So it looked like Vitaliy Versace did a movie in 2012 called The Utoya Islands. And this is actually based off a real event in Norway that happened in 2011. Like, that seems like it's a little too soon to be doing that. Kristen sent me a clip, so I'll plug that in right now.
The movie tells the story of the Utoya Island tragedy, where 69 people were killed last July at a summer camp in Norway. 8 other people were also killed at a bomb attack right before the shooting by the same gunman. Most of the complaints on YouTube are from Norwegians who feel Versace did not do enough research and that it's much too soon to do a movie about the tragedy.
Also, side note, that's Vitaliy right there. Thought I'd let you know that. All right, back to the video. Whew.
So, how do you make Twilight Christian? I would tell you, but even after 4 to 5 watch-throughs, I'm still having trouble figuring out what it's trying to say. Chloe, our lead character, fills the role of the wide-eyed, altruistic Christian girl who wants to be a missionary. The plot rewards her for this and acknowledges her otherworldly kindness through the eyes of a 2,000-year-old immortal that straight up confirms that she's the bestest special to ever special.
When I'm with you, I feel like I could die. And that'll be alright. Because I know there's another person out there who cares enough about the world to do something.
There's a 5-minute-long church service in which said 2,000-year-old immortal is moved to literal tears when he hears this.
Gonna cry?
Honestly, I had to re-listen to this sermon about 5 times because it was drier than Dying Dwyer the dryer sheet.
I'm not saying that this love isn't as... I challenge all of you. There is no fear. It's just that we reach out more effort for perfect. There are many different... Or maybe just...
It basically takes Pastor Melvin 2.5 minutes to say, love is cool, but just as friends, okay? Did I mention that Melvin also happens to be Chloe's dad? I see you, eyeliner hooligan. So far, we have a mostly pro-Christian film. But there's something a bit weird going on there. A couple of lines hint that the religion seemingly being promoted is Jehovah's Witness.
Well, I'm really involved with my church. My dad's the pastor at the local Kingdom Hall.
But this clearly wasn't written by a Jehovah's Witness or someone interested in researching it, as there's a lot of inaccuracies. For instance, crosses aren't used, and the word pastor isn't used. They also don't call the church, they call it Kingdom Hall. I'm not sure if there's much else, but if anyone who knows more about this kind of thing wants to comment and correct me, that's okay too. Overall, it seems like the intent was to make a Christian vampire film, and the idea hit. Oh, hey, who are the ones who don't do blood stuff? And they tacked the name on for some conflict.
In our religion, we believe that blood is sacred, and we are not allowed to eat blood of any kind or receive blood transfusions. If we were to do so, we would be shunned from the church.
But oh, don't worry, we'll get there. So, is this a pro-Christian, anti-Jehovah's Witness? Anytime blood transfusions are mentioned, the specifically Jehovah's Witness trait, things get really awkward really quickly. And later on, Melvin and the JW crew, that's what they're called now, rolled right off the banana barrel over the whole blood-eating thing.
Light the fires!
Burn! But there's this vague Christianity that is held up and respected and travels through this guy's singing, I guess. But why spend so long on a sermon that's relevant to the plot? Why give him this dramatic glasses taking off scene emotional bit when he's going to be a real dick later? Do we listen or do we not? Are you Christian or are you not?
What kind of Christian spirit is this?
What do you believe, movie?
Shit.
I'm going to get this out of the way quickly, because the Twilight aspects are fewer than the cover and packaging would have you believe. Now, fun fact, there are 2 versions of this film, and the one I experienced first was the one that I'll call the Snyder Cut. This was updated from its original version to look more Twilightified. Though I do think this is the superior version, this update makes a lot of scenes almost impossible to make out. Honestly, the film was so dark, and since I was watching it on Tubi, the ads came on as a complete jump scare. Like, I forgot that color existed, and the sight of it was as alarming as a cave fish being thrown right into the middle of Pride. Now, if Vampire Movie Bingo has a free space, it's staring, and this one has a lot of it. 2 minutes altogether, if you want to know. Did I time every second? Yes, I did. Elias, our vampire leading boy, spends so much of the beginning of the film with just this whack-ass angry glare and a mouth twitch. Like, is he trying to control his bloodthirst? Do his teeth twitch when he smells something yummy? If so, why isn't he doing this through the entire movie? They just reserve them for the intense eye-slapping scenes. And during scenes where he actually gets to talk, he's just a dude.
Well, I think it's going pretty well, although not as well as it could.
Like, nothing that this guy says implies that he's going to snap his teeth at you like a crocodile from a back corner of a room. Thankfully, the glares wear off as the movie progresses. Perhaps they're a nuanced acting choice to show Aurelius's nature versus nurture. The only time the twitch does come back is during the thrilling climax, when he realizes he's made a mistake and should start eeking at people again. We, of course, get this scene.
But you're
Say it.
a vampire.
Does that bother you?
Are you afraid?
You afraid of me now?
Why does it sound like he's goofing around? Like, you afraid of me? Ooh, scary. Gonna cry, little goblin.
How old are you?
20.
17.
How long have you been that old?
How long have you been 17?
For about 2,028 years.
A while.
Wow.
2,028 years. And he's literally clutching his backpack at a community college. What the hell have you been doing for all these years, man? At least Edward learned how to play piano. You have what? God, immortality is wasted on him. I'd be crocheting cozies for cities with that kind of time. Invent a flying car. Find out which hairstyle flatters my face. Other than a staring at the love interest in her sleep scene that is somehow both more and less creepy than the Twilight version, the similarities end there. And honestly, the bits used to make this movie more like Twilight were actually a lot of the weakest parts.
Afternoon, sleepyhead.
Except the vampire sports scene. I haven't mentioned it because I don't want to spoil my favorite part. It's almost like originality is always a good idea. Who knew? With that out of the way, we can now get to the gold, the center of the Tootsie Pop. The
I was a heavy heart to carry.
We start out with either a shot of the moon or a zoomed-in shot of the moon, depending on which version you're watching. An unseen narrator beckons us to imagine that vampires and witches and the like are real, and warns you away from condemning them and murdering them.
Witches and vampires are real, and the particular powers we associate with them are real. Who are we to extinguish them from existence?
I guess I'm good. I got the theme of the movie Don't kill vampires. Done. She then comes to the stunning conclusion that she thinks humans are afraid of what they don't understand. Worry not, dears. This wise and cliché message will masterfully play into the film's climax. We then switch to blood cells. Blood cells, blurry blood cells, and a very long introduction showing sights from the movie we're about to watch. Riveting. We then have a bit of a Where's Waldo situation where we're trying to figure out who the main character is. Like, I was very confused the first time watching it. Like, is it guitar guy from the guitar club? Oh, he's got, nope, this guy who's discussing a party. No, wait, no, it has to be this girl that gets made fun of and retorts with a, bite me. Vampires, anyone? No? We never see any of these people again? All right. Okay, we're now introduced to Chloe, whose outfits constantly have me guessing what the weather is, and Aurelius, who hunches and is ridiculed for being pale in the pastiest college campus I've ever seen. A cliche I've always had real beef with is in school and college movies where the professor has like an assignment that just so happens to tie in loosely with the rest of the plot. It's usually there to add some kind of exposition dump or wacky situation where the characters that wouldn't normally be talking to each other now have to interact and maybe hold hands.
You're in my lit class?
Oh, yeah.
In this movie, we have Bram Stoker's Dracula. Aurelius the whole time's just like, oh no, I hope no one finds out I'm a vampire from reading Dracula, 'cause I am a vampire, much like Dracula.
As your last project of class, you're going to perform this. You're going to have to act and wear costumes. Get over yourselves and try to enjoy this.
I've also always hated that teacher in high school that sprung those like surprise plays in a class that wasn't drama. It always gave the drama kids a holier-than-thou obnoxiousness, leaving the more socially awkward ones puking before scenes. I suppose you can guess which one I was.
Bow to me, normies, your acting queen has arrived, and will wipe the floor with your tears, with my purposeful acting tears, because I'm just that good.
Well, I'm happy with my part. I've always wanted to play a sultry female vampire. Who knew that lit class would bring all my fantasies to fruition?
God, I love this movie. We now get another scene of Chloe and Melissa where they talk about what just happened.
Hey, nice class. Well, he's having us do Dracula, and then as our final, we have to perform it as a play.
Wow, sounds more like a drama class than a lit class. Who plays Dracula?
Remember that pale guy we saw in the courtyard this morning?
Yeah.
Well, that's who Professor picks.
If you like this kind of Memento-style writing, your socks are about to take a road trip. In Twilight, our vampires can't be real killers because that makes people boo at the romance and say, give us kinda dangerous. So they got around this by making them vegetarian vampires that only feed off deer and other wild things. So they're not real killers, but they're still vampires. The last vampire on Earth gets around this with an, I shit you not, bloodmobile.
What would you say if I told you I have a proposition for you? It'll be more worth your while than the measly hourly wage you get running this.
You know, that's rich, kid. If you're not gonna donate, get out of my face.
I'm very serious, Wayne. That would be just the first installment. Can you give me 5 gallons?
Little Johnny having to run after the ice cream truck. One bloody one, governor, bloody hell, I need me now a ball. I'm so sorry. I don't like red wine. We now have to watch adults cold read Dracula.
I read that every known superstition in the world is gathered to the horseshoe of the Carpathians.
Straight from the book.
For certainly if I had been fully awake, I must have noticed the approach of such a remarkable place.
For an entire minute.
I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome, Mr. Harter, to my house.
We see scripts later, but at this point, I thought they were just dead-ass reading the entire book, like, as a dramatized book experience that lasted 15 hours. Probably 20 hours with this kind of fumbling around. Since she and Aurelius both have leading roles, Chloe takes this as an opportunity to talk to him.
Are you taking biochem too?
Yeah, it's a killer.
just like me, a vampire. They exchange information and agree to rehearse a bit together. We get another snarl. Will they meet up? What will happen? Will they have a connection? We do not know. We must find out. But not before. No. Oh no. What's this? Chloe is at the doctor? As we all know, in a movie, you cannot have a nosebleed, headache, or doctor's visit without it being a death sentence. Even one cough and you're donezo. But we don't have time for that because we have a date to get to. Another difference between the original and the Snyder Cut is a couple of inconsequential deleted scenes. This is where one happens. See, in the Snyder Cut, we cut straight here, where they meet up for 2 seconds at a coffee shop and split ways without rehearsing at all. I just thought the rehearsing bit kind of fell through a plot hole, but that scene was actually filmed. It just got cut. Now, it's a cut I agree with a little bit, like, it makes the coffee shop thing a little less weird, I agree, but it's really weird seeing people who just graduated from Strangerhood chomping on each other's necks, like, 5 minutes into the film. Like, it's too early in the movie for that, damn it. The people demand well-developed neck slobbering. At the end of the coffee shop speed date, Aurelius agrees to go to church with Chloe, where her dad preaches. He also reveals he's in college to study blood diseases so he can cure them. Wonder what Chloe was at the doctor's for. We don't know. I must now remind you that Aurelius is 2,048 years old. He's lived his entire life. He's lived through the Reagan era. And he chooses 2009 to start studying blood at a community college with like 10 people.
Maybe if I do something significant with my life, it'll wash out all the years of doing nothing.
God, imagine you finally get a vampire boyfriend and it's this loser. Hope y'all are ready to go to church, cause that's the entirety of the next 5 minutes.
Let us pray.
Good service.
Yeah, it was alright.
Gonna make all this font smaller so I can read it okay and not have to zoom every 2 minutes. Oh, if you see me fiddling over here, I've got a mouse. I'm reading a script. As I can improv for shit. This is where Aurelius meets our villain, Pastor Melvin, for the first time.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Please call me Melvin.
Okay, sir. I mean, Melvin.
Well, Dad, we better get out of your way.
He invites Aurelius over for dinner with a threat, maybe?
Why don't you come over for dinner sometime? I'd love to get a chance to talk with you more.
We get another totally necessary scene where Chloe relays exactly what just happened to her friend Melissa. Again.
So how was church?
It was great. Dad gave a wonderful sermon about selfless love.
So did Aurelius end up going with you?
Yeah, he did. Oh my gosh, you're never gonna believe this either. Dad invited him over to our house for dinner.
I wish I could be a fly on that wall.
We're going to dinner at the house. Yes, look at the chicken. He makes a wonderful establishing shot.
He's here.
These are for your mother.
This is where we get to meet our Lord and Savior, Chad.
This is our son, Chad.
See, here we hit a little snag, a little conflict.
So, Aurelius, what are you majoring in?
Hematology. Well, it's the study of blood. Is there something wrong?
In our religion, we believe that blood is sacred, and we are not allowed to eat blood of any kind or receive blood transfusions. If we were to do so, we would be shunned from the church.
Chloe's mom, Roberta, asks Aurelius why he isn't eating.
Aurelius, you barely touched your food.
I forgot I was coming here this evening and had a pretty big lunch this afternoon.
Don't worry about it, I'll eat it.
Oh, Chad, how practical you are, and not at all being written as a stereotype. As Aurelius drives away, he stops to spit up his food. Was he hiding it in his mouth like a chipmunk? Why wait till now to spit that out? Dude, I know vampires don't pee, but they don't know that. Just go to the bathroom and flush it down the toilet like anyone who doesn't like their Brussels sprouts. Let's see if he's still asleep. Say hi to the camera.
I am appeased, mother.
Yeah, back down you go. We get our first and arguably only suspenseful moment when Aurelius meets with his blood dealer Wayne, who brings him 5 gallons of blood. Yeah, that's the good stuff. We have this tense moment where Wayne is walking around the house looking for Aurelius, and boom, jump scare! Aurelius sneaks up behind him and pays him. Then he walks him out, but he's standing way too close. Woo! Oh, do you need to go? You getting too hot? Still cozy? Okay. Oh, no. No, get off the mouse. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
down,
I know.
mother.
I know.
I am a king.
You have to stand on the laptop.
This is my land.
Whew. That was boiling hot. Really, though, the best part of this scene is where Aurelius explains why he needs the blood, and to be honest, it sent me on a little spiral.
What are you going to do with this blood anyway? I'm doing a study on leeches and how different types of blood affect them.
And also, sorry, how many leeches? How much can a leech drink? Okay, 5 milliliters of blood at each feeding. We will say 7 in our calculation here. So So 5 gallons to milliliters. Whoo, okay, so you have that. How often? Once every 6 months. So this is a one-time feeding for leeches, it sounds like. We are going to take this 18,972 and divide that by 7 to see how many leeches he has in this hypothetical situation. Okay, so for this lie to be true, Aurelius needs 2,703 leeches.
Oh, hey, I'm just doing a bit of recreational reading.
Okay.
I wish for a world without injustice, murder, or suffering.
Okay, so she is going to die.
I wish for one with only love, beauty, and happiness.
Even though she said she was reading for recreation, Aurelius thinks this is a good time to propose a real date. Sure, wasn't doing anything important, I guess. Ooh, now they're holding hands. That's second base for a Christian film. We see them walk. We see them pump water. No, we see them pump with no water and drink nothing. We see them walk down a pier. We see them look at water. We see them walk away from the water.
I'm starting to get hungry. Do you want to go get something to eat? Where are you from?
Greece. I'm the only one here. And I actually don't really have any family. I don't really have time for friends or anything else.
He invites her to his house where he has printed out some internet research for her.
What are they about exactly?
Just different theories and information about vampires. Thought it might help you with the project.
Oh yeah, I'd love to read that.
God, this will be important to our Dracula play, he says. It's research about vampires. He just hands her the big stack. Sorry, I don't know why that cracks my shit up so much. While they're in the pursuit of the restroom, she finds the blood! And then the restroom! She takes a moment. After being handed a stack of printed out research about vampires, Chloe goes directly home and starts doing the research. She ends up using a laptop anyways, so that whole last scene made no sense. Except the blood discovery. That's the only justification I can give for it.
Mother.
Yeah?
I'm no longer mad, Mother, but I require cuddles. Please get the blanket.
You want to be on camera? Join my
not like this.
Patreon.
Okay, now the blanket.
I know you want the blanket.
Give
I can put
me
it.
that blanket.
Okay. My goodness, you.
Oh, this
Where
is
the hell
nice.
was I? They use a stunning effect to show her thought process as she does her research. It brings her to the shocking conclusion: Aurelius is...
I actually don't really have any family. I'm the only one here. I don't really have time for friends or anything else.
pale and lonely. No, don't. No, that's a cord. Come on.
But blankie, head boop.
Come here. Thank you.
What is going?
While waiting for him outside of one of his classes.
I'm falling.
What are you doing? While waiting for him outside of one of his classes, Chloe stops what seems to be either an attempt at bullying or a dance-off.
I gotta talk to you.
Okay.
I'm once again reminded that this is a college with adults, but I'm sorry, even in a small town community college like what I went to, there was no time to form opinions about the 30-year-old man who sometimes wore a pirate hat, much less bully him. It's like they want these characters to be adults, but they still want to throw in juvenile cliches. Kinda like reality shows. At this point, Chloe leads Aurelius to a secluded area to have the conversation. We don't need to see that again, but it does lead to one of my favorite lines.
Why me? Why would you want me to know this? I'm just a girl going on about her life, trying to make the world a better place.
Why me? I'm just a girl with a greater understanding of altruism than the rest. Why me? I'm just a girl that knows who killed Laura Palmer. Why me? I'm just a girl with 4 hands and a love of high-fiving. Why me? I'm just a girl who is a queen. Not dark, but beautiful and terrible as the dawn. Treacherous as the sea, stronger than the foundations of the earth. All shall love me and despair. Sorry, allergy season, man. Also, we get this bananas realization.
So, nothing we've tried so far has helped stop the virus yet?
No, dear, I'm afraid not. More and more, we've been running into the AIDS strain.
What?
Well, a few years ago, I was on a mission trip in Africa. I was helping a group of people at the clinic, and there was an attack. Everyone was running for cover, and I found a little girl frozen in the hall. She'd been cut up by debris and was bleeding a little. I picked her up and we ran for cover. Later on, when we were sitting down, I realized that some of the blood from her cut had gone into a small one I had in my arm.
Oh. Okay, that's what they went with, huh?
So then, he takes the pin with the gelatin in it and sticks it on his head. What a goofball.
We cut to the happy couple looking at the stars. And if you've ever been with a guy who always has to bring up the constellations, you know how interesting this scene is.
Mythologists still aren't sure what happened to the other half of the constellation. Do you know the story of Pegasus?
No. Would you tell me?
Sure. The White Sea Foam gave Pegasus.
Wow. We get more reading straight from Dracula, but this time everyone's upright, so it's a little more interesting.
But looked out and saw perfectly under the lashes. The fair girl went on her knees.
No. It's not. But it wouldn't be so bad if every time they did this, it wasn't the same 6 lines over and over again.
But oh, Mina, I love him, I love him, I love him. Oh, Lucy, I cannot be angry with you, nor can I be angry with my friend, whose happiness is yours. But I must only wait on Hopeless and work. I
don't know if this is the entire play or if they're cutting it. My hopes and dreams say that it has to be cuts of a longer, more structured performance. But the ending play is exactly the same, and none of the lines make sense next to each other. What is this?
But oh, Mina, I love him, I love him, I love him. Oh, Lucy, I cannot be angry at you, nor can I be angry at my friend whose happiness is yours. But I must only wait on Hopeless and work.
There are such beings as vampires. Some have evidence that they exist. Even had we not the proof of our own unhappy experience, the records and the teachings of the past be proof enough for sane people.
Very good.
Elias has once again been invited to dinner.
Could you go through another dinner with them?
I believe I can, so long as we stay away from my major.
And we are shown he's already gone through 5 gallons of blood.
Wayne, it's Elias. I'm going to need another delivery. Can you get me the same amount?
Which, of course, if we're talking leeches, sent me on another spiral.
Can you get me the same amount?
What? What?
Once as soon as you could get it here.
Okay, so he needs the same amount again, which brings... Where the hell did my calculator go? Ah, crap. What was my math again? Okay, so we've already come to the conclusion that in this scenario, he has 2,703 leeches to feed these 5 gallons of blood to. And as far as I can tell, not much time has gone past, right? Like, everyone's, I'm assuming, because everyone's still reading their lines from the script, you know, that's normally in the first couple of weeks. So it can't have been more than 2 weeks. So I'm led to believe he needs 5 more gallons of blood because it wasn't enough for the amount of leeches he has, which means that this would be doubled, and he has 5,407 leeches he has to feed. At this point, I'm realizing we haven't seen him do anything particularly vampire-ish. He can go out in the sun, he has a reflection, no confirmed opinion on garlic. Wouldn't it be an absolute delight if the twist was he wasn't a vampire and he was just one of those guys, you know? At dinner, Elias forces himself to eat more food, which leads to a way too realistic puking scene. This is why there's no budget. They put it all in the puke. While he's discussing this with Chloe, he does not realize there is a Chad lurking about, listening to every word. What will happen? We do not know, because it's time for my favorite scene! Vampire football! Here we go! Football! Yeah, throw that ball! Yeah, catch that ball, throw it! Here we go, vampire ball time! Yeah! He threw it! Oh my god, this song. It's a football term!
Well, everybody, it's time for me to get out of here.
So soon?
Well, we can't stay forever.
And that's it. Best scene. no! Chloe has a mysterious bruise pop up. What's going to happen? Unfortunately, we get to sit through a 4-minute-long doctor appointment scene. This girl is being told that her AIDS is advancing rapidly, and I am bored out of my mind. Thanks a lot, movie. You made me into a dick. Holy hell. I just realized that her name is Chloe Parrish. Next, we get the acting performance of a lifetime from Chad.
Well, Sunday, when Elias was over for dinner, after dinner, I heard him and Chloe talking. And I'm pretty sure, I don't see how she could have said something else. And I misunderstood her.
Come out with it, child.
Well, I heard Chloe say that he's a vampire.
Of course, one wouldn't believe their 10-year-old telling them that their sister's boyfriend is a vampire, but Pastor Melvin takes it very seriously.
Is this true? This is very important. If Aurelius is a vampire, we need to take action.
It makes me wonder what kind of universe this is. Vampires don't appear to be a known fact of this world, but the opening did say to imagine a world where vampires and witches existed. Are we still in this world? Are they just a thing that exists, or did? He is the last vampire after all, not that that's ever looked into. As Chloe searches for Aurelius to warn him of the incoming Melvin, we get to see so many necessary walking scenes. And something that made me gasp down to my very toes. She's got a gun! I'm genuinely curious what percentage of this movie is just walking, but I have too much of a life to rewatch this pile of poo just to Here now to the thrilling climax. Melvin and the JW crew have Aurelius tied to a stake. Chad is there! Chad is to bear witness!
Let's light the fires!
Fire! But it's okay. Nobody panic here. Chloe is here, and Chloe is armed.
Stop or I'll shoot!
Not just with a gun, but with the truth.
This is a good man, and if you took the time to get to know him, you would find that out. He doesn't want to hurt us. He doesn't feed off of humans. He wants to help us. He wants to help find cures for diseases. He wants to help find a cure for diseases like AIDS. Maybe that doesn't mean much to you, but it means a lot to people like me who have it. That's right, I have AIDS and it's advancing very quickly. I don't have that much longer to live, and I will not hesitate to shoot someone for trying to kill Aurelius. I'm not afraid of punishment, death, or things I do not understand. All of you are afraid of him, not because you truly think he's evil, but because you don't understand what he is. What kind of Christian spirit is this? Would you do this to someone who has cancer? No, you would help them because they have a horrible disease. What makes him so different? Do you think he revels in what he's become? I'm not playing around. You, go untie him.
There's not much I can say about this scene that the scene doesn't already say for itself. What I mean is, this is perfect cinema, and I'm not worthy enough to have thoughts or opinions on it. I can only experience it. I suggest you all do the same.
This is wrong. Good man, and if you took the time to get to know him, you would find that out. He doesn't want to hurt us. He doesn't feed off humans.
Chloe is here and Chloe is armed, not just with a gun, but with her heart. She has AIDS and it's advancing rapidly. You better get lost before she shoots you in the knee. She has AIDS and it's advancing rapidly. You better get lost before she shoots you in the knee.
Please just cuddle me.
After Aurelius is untied, the JW crew just lets them go. Oh boy, she sure told me. Guess we lost. And they just putter away to drink sadly at a pub somewhere, or in these people's case, sit on a rooftop watching the sunset with ice cream.
Robbie!
Okay, hope the sound sounds the same. Oh no, we'll find out. When they get back to Elias' house, Chloe asks him if he'll make her into a vampire.
If you were to bite me and make me into a vampire, would I be free of this disease? Could I be healthy again?
He's hesitant.
But you don't want this. You don't know what it's like to live through centuries with all the people you know and love dying around you.
I would like it.
Come on, man. She has AIDS and it's advancing rapidly. She literally has nothing to lose. Though, I have to admit, her reasoning for wanting to do so is a little more problematic than just, not wanting to die.
When I'm with you, I feel like the whole world has settled on right. But when we're apart, I feel as though it's been ripped in two. Won't you please do this for me?
No. You're exhausted. It's been a long day. Why don't you try and sleep now?
Ugh, how dare this movie make me take sides with a man telling a woman she's too tired to make decisions? How dare you, movie? Huh? What's next? Am I gonna be the one explaining constellations to everyone?
Wow.
After a long-ass nighttime skip, we finally get to what we've been waiting for. The play! The one-take scene of the play is exactly what you'd expect of such a wide range of talent in this cast.
I don't know if I can do this without messing up.
You'll be fine. We all will. Regardless, they don't matter.
Like, there's so much about this scene that channels my fight or flight. Is it the fact that everyone's barefoot? Is it because nobody's facing the audience for half their lines? Is it the random cuts to the cast members watching the cast members admirably? Is it this guy's ponytail? Is it this shot? 'Cause that frightened me. The end of the play and the movie draws near, and decisions have to be made.
Have you thought any further about my request? I was very serious about it.
Chloe crosses her heart and swears to die she wants to be a vampire, so pretty please. And right there, with one final mouth twitch, he bites her right there in front of the audience and God. We don't get to see the confused panic of everyone believing to be witnessing a murder. We just get to see Chloe's face, now sunken in, show the first emotion of the entire movie. So I spent an ungodly amount of time watching and pausing and watching and recording and pausing and pausing and pausing and stopping and watching this movie. This is a breakdown of all of the time wasted on this movie. As you can see, 40% of this movie is wasted on staring, recap, reading straight from the book of Dracula. Look at this. Almost 9% of this movie is just walking around. If I were to go in and edit this, we would have less than an hour's worth of actual plot. But we can't do that because it needs to be a movie. It needs to be an hour 30. In the edited down Snyder Cut edition, the bits that are cut are still plot, more or less. They had a chance to fix this. They saw an uninterrupted 4-minute doctor appointment that had little to no new information, and they were like, no, we must cut the scene that offers a tiny bit more development to these pieces of toast we're making kiss. Can you imagine that sound? Can we recreate that? Oh. You thought we were done? Just because I finished wrapping up this movie, we can abandon the whole property and forget about it? I'll bet you wanna wrap it up, put it in a wicker basket, and leave it on an orphanage stoop in hopes that, someone will find it and raise it to be a better person than you are? No! I didn't get to do that, and neither do you. I needed Answers. What is this movie trying to be? What was it trying to say? What thoughts lay behind those dead eyes? I needed something. I found the book. The book will give me the answers, right? So, upon getting the book, I was instantly disappointed in its length. It's already depressing at a page count of 99, but even that's a lie. The actual story ends on page 76. The back of the book is dedicated to a Where Are They Now segment, where you find out how the story ends for all of our gripping characters. Melissa is still wondering what happened to Chloe. Damn, that's rough. I'm so glad I know what Nurse is up to these days. It was keeping me up at night. I am happy to report that Chloe and Aurelius are just two vampires, striving to make the world a better place for us mortals to live in. Another fun fact about the book is that it's printed on demand. I ordered this from Amazon on April 28th, and look, April 28th, which also happens to be my friend Drake's birthday, so tell him happy birthday in the comments. I've never had a book this fresh before, so it's a very unique addition to my library. Reading the author info on the back, you find out that Mandy L. Abraham was actually hired by Versace to write the script for the movie, which makes a lot of sense since this book is almost word for word the movie. The way it's written leads me to believe that the book and the script were written at the same time, because the script is basically copy-pasted with a couple of extra bits we'll get into. Honestly, from the way they were rehearsing for the Dracula play directly from the book, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the script. God, what a nightmare if that was the case. You can for sure tell that this was written before casting. The photos used for illustrative purposes, yes, this book has pictures in it, do not show our cast. Chad is written as an athletic 14-year-old, tall and thick. Just looking at him, you knew he had to accelerate in some sort of sport. The illustrations are worth their own segment, but for the sake of everyone's sanity, I'll only address the one I can't show on YouTube. As soon as you open the book, you get a photo of, let's say, a group of people who love the color white and burn anything in a T-pose. I'm assuming this picture was used to represent the JW crew, mainly because it appears again in Chapter 8 when they're attempting to burn him at the stake. Just a theory. Normally, for something this poorly made, I'd hope that this was just a very ignorant move in search for like a culty stock photo with fire in it, but considering the only character of color in this whole thing is a talked about African girl who gives the lead character AIDS, I'm going to assume this creator's not on the up and up. With the cinematically visual writing style of this book, unfortunately, you get no additional character thought or insight. Even the scene where she's researching vampires and coming to a conclusion about Aurelius, we were given this passage. Later that night, Chloe sat in her room, reading the articles Aurelius had given her. She was very into them and started sorting through them almost frantically. She highlighted certain parts, then went to her computer and searched for more information on the parts she'd highlighted in the articles. As she went through the information, she got more and more frantic. She kept writing things down on the papers. After about an hour of research, she sat back in the chair, put down her pen, and sighed. What did she research? We don't know. We'll never know. Don't worry, this isn't a complete waste of time. There are some differences, which I am now going to point out. Point number 1. Aurelius drives a Ferrari? He drives a fucking Guy Fieri around. Difference number 1. Aurelius drives a Point number 1. Aurelius drives a Ferrari. Oh my god! Ah! Point number 1. Point number 1. Point number 1. Point number 1. Aurelius drives a Ferrari.
Great job.
Which mainly cuts down the time spent walking in the book. This does not stop Aurelius from letting Chloe drive for many of the outings they go on. She doesn't know about the car's existence until page 37, which is over the halfway point. Aurelius points out that it must be tough being a preacher's kid, which would have been a chance for development, but Chloe's only response is, sometimes. There's a moment before the church scene where Chloe gives Aurelius a ride in her dumpy car. This could have been a development, but instead we get, the ride there was quiet and uncomfortable for the pair. Neither one of them really knew what to say. Luckily for them, it was a short ride to the Kingdom Hall. They both almost let out a sigh of relief as they pulled into the parking lot and got out of the car. This weird bullying circle doesn't form in the book before Chloe reveals what she knows about the vampirism. That must have been an improv on-the-shot thing. Genius, Vitaliy, genius. There's a sentence where Aurelius says how much of a bummer it is to live through the 2,000 plus years and to have all of those like personal memories playing back all the time. Sounds like development. Should you feel hope? No, you should not. Because that's all we get. The scene I miss the most, which would have really picked up the pace for the film, I think, is the scene where they have a flat tire and Aurelius shows off his speedy powers by changing it quickly. That cracked my shit up, and I will now raise hell on Twitter until we get the tire cut of this movie. I know they at least attempted it. It's somewhere. I can smell it. With that said, there's no speedy ping pong, and that would have been a big loss if it weren't for the speedy tire change. Chad got a noogie from Pastor Melvin after football. The blood drinking scene, Aurelius drinks 2 bags of blood, so in a different universe, we got an additional 70 seconds of that in the movie. It's also revealed that he starts to look a little pale and veiny from going too long without blood. That would have been a cool moment for the makeup team to show their chops, but I don't know if they had any. When it comes to the excruciatingly long doctor's visit, we don't only get word for word the entire appointment. Again, we get an extra paragraph of her scheduling a follow-up appointment with Nurse. I'm assuming that's her name. After discovering the truth from Chloe about Aurelius, Pastor Melvin leaves Chloe's room in a fury, and the book would love for us to know that he does not shut the door all the way. Ooh, something juicy. During the attempted stake burning, it says that Pastor Melvin spits on Aurelius. Slap me, bitch! Drama. Chloe does get more recreational reading time in. I know you're all worried that she didn't finish that book, don't worry. I know I was. The play actually has a set and characters that are dressed up. No words on whether they're barefoot or not, but that was something. The most notable change, other than Chad, of course, is the ending, where we get some context of what's going on during this, like, painfully long biting scene. In this, Chloe is getting to see 2,048 years worth of Aurelius's memories. Never seen it before, but okay. Here are the highlights. Greece, Jesus, wars, people, places. That's it. Shout out to the Colosseum that gets its own blurry little photo. Do they think Rome is in Greece? Why is it here? Not that I don't love surprises, Colosseum. You know I always love seeing your architecture. So that wraps up the differences. All I have left for you are some of my favorite passages. Off to the side, a group of hip-hop rappers took turns rapping. Everyone sat silent and looked at each other like, no way, not me, dude. In the hall after class, students talked as they left about the project. In the campus library, Chloe sat at a table by herself studying. She got up and wandered the aisles for a few minutes looking for a particular section. When she found it, she stopped, scanned the book titles. Finally, she spotted the book she was looking for and pulled it from the shelf. Chloe turned back down the aisle with her book and walked back to the table she was sitting at before. Aurelius watched her walk away for a few seconds, then turned back to the books. Now, at this point where you're having like all of this direction, you would have like thoughts or details, but no, none of that. We just know where they walked, not why they walked or how they walked, just that they walked. You get a lot of that. I'm skipping over most of it for you all. Oh, I also love this passage. Sorry, I'm gonna go back a second. Yeah, there's also this passage here that makes it sound like the writer has a crush on the professor. His eyes twinkled in that mischievous way as he continued. In that mischievous way. So page 47, this one's one of my favorites because this is where Aurelius confesses some pretty deep feelings. It's not written romantically, but like it's more romantic compared to everything else. It's okay, but for this book, it's astounding. And she responds with, wow, I don't even know what to say. And of course, we can't forget, right before the ending, some of the last actions that happen in this. Aurelius leaned in and bit her. Yeah, they kept a lot of typos in here. Now that we have the entire story within the story, we should talk about the story outside of the story. Namely, I think it's important to remember that each of these creators and actors are people, And a lot of them have not continued in the film industry and just kind of live their lives now. Director aside, most of these people seem genuine and decent, and I will in no way condone any bullying or harassment. This movie and these performances were the only things presented to the public for enjoyment, critique, or in our case, getting teased a little bit. Just a little smidge of teasing. So don't pull any of that shenanery, or I will personally tattle on you to your mom or mom equivalent. With that said, I do have a little more that was presented to the public, ripe for the poking. I did not enjoy saying that. If God can find a reason to bless Vitaliy Versace, may he bless him for posting the entire red carpet event from Columbia, Ohio's entertainment TV newsreel. Here, we finally get to the butter of this dry experience we've had thus far. Here, our protagonist and my personal hero is the interviewer who is freezing her ass off to get this content for us.
Let's meet some of the cast and crew. We have the crew and the cast arriving for the premiere that have come out in the cold and the snow. Cold and the snow. Everyone's braved the snow and the cold.
Now, aside from some absolute gems, most interviews just have to deal with the people who were not expecting to be interviewed.
And tell me a little bit about your character.
He kind of is a college kid in the movie. Kind of oblivious to what's going on. He's kind of got an idea. It's about that. I mean, it's not the hugest role, but it's something. It's my first film, so.
I'm best friends with Chloe, the main character. We all go to college together. Well, I don't know. I'm really excited for it.
That's about it.
I love that we can see the realization that there's no character at all to describe.
We're mostly contributing characters to the main roles, and we help kind of mold things. We help things along. We play college students, and we play college students playing in a play.
I play rich kid number 2.
I was teaching a course on Bram Stoker. And it was my idea, according to the film story, to have the students dramatize Dracula. So this is how supposedly it came about.
The more notable interviews range from too much rehearsing in the mirror.
I play Melvin Parrish. He's the minister and the father of the main character. She's my precious daughter, who we're a religious family in the film, and on a trip to a missionary assignment, she contracts AIDS, and so she's dying, and so we're very close knit. We go to the Kingdom Hall as a family, but my daughter has gone to college now, and so she's separated from the family, and that's where she meets the vampire. And he seems like a great guy. We welcome him into the family. We have him over for meals. But then we gradually discover that this person is a vampire. And so that, of course, doesn't sit well with us, especially the fact that he consumes blood to stay alive, which is against our religious principles. So the minister, myself, goes from this humble preacher of love to a defender and someone who actually goes out to attack this person, tries to kill the vampire, and we'll see if he succeeds or not.
To its contrast.
How does that work for you?
Well, you have to see the movie.
The actor who plays Elias is just as confused as we are on some of the casting decisions.
I went out there for the audition, and I got offered the part, and I took it. And it was pretty tough. It was challenging. I had to play a really serious role, which is I'm a bit of a goofy person, so it's hard for me to do serious, but I hope I did it pretty good.
So tell me, were there any romantic scenes, such as when maybe you bit her neck?
A little bit.
And of course, the best interview comes from our Lord and Savior, Chad.
I played the role of Chad, and he's like a guy that he finds out what his sister is dating, and he gets scared And that's pretty much the end of my roles in the movie.
Well, you look like you're ready, dressed, and ready to go for this red carpet event, young man.
Trust me, I am.
We get a little sequel bait.
All due to the writing of Mandy.
Absolutely, and what a fantastic writer she is. I was talking with her earlier this evening, asking her if we could get a sequel out of her.
And what did she say?
She said she would, if everyone enjoyed the film, she certainly would think about writing that.
Guess that's not happening. You know, there's something so genuine about how unsteady this entire ordeal is. You can kind of tell these people know the quality of work that they put out, but they're holding their breath to see if the movie was somehow fixed during post, so they still have positive things to say without being too positive. It's a good balance, but it flavors the air with this, like, clenched up anticipation, and I'm here for the awkwardness it produces.
My sister came, so I was happy so I have a little bit of family here. I wasn't able to get my mother here, but, you know.
It's like, and what's your name?
My real name?
We're fortunate this evening to talk to Vitaliy Versace, who is the producer of the movie. So good evening, sir.
Director, too.
So tell us a little bit about the producer here this evening.
The producer?
Vitaliy Versace.
Vitaliy Versace.
You're rich kid number 2? Well, you certainly do look the part.
Loved him. Just loved him.
Well, that seems to be the big That seems to be the big consensus this evening.
You know, vampires are kind of popular now. It's like more of a sexy thing, you know? But maybe one day I'll get the chance to play a vampire.
Well, it looks like you could play any role, doctor, vampire.
So, here we are at the end of everything. And what do we have to say?
And I really love doing things with Versace because he knows what he wants, and he wants his shot, and he'll get it. He'll get it. He knows it's in his head, and he'll make it happen on screen. That's really wonderful for him.
Not that. The Last Vampire on Earth was a disaster. With a budget of $250,000, there's no information I can find on what this film actually grossed, which seems a little shady. Mainly, it just seemed like every person in production purposefully made the worst decisions that could be made. Heck, I could have made a better movie with $2,500. Am I going to actually do this and put credit to my words? No, not at all. My statement remains hollow, much like Chloe's cheeks by the end of the film. I don't have much of a closing statement or overall thought on this, as this is not really a review. This is just me and us and God experiencing what is and what cannot be changed. Each part of this movie folds in on itself with each unique bad quality. It has collapsed and become its own entity. All we can do now is look, wonder, and pray. This monolith does not need us. It explains itself.
It's a nice change of pace, at least.
It's going to be interesting, at least.
If nothing else, I'm curious to see what'll happen.
Even if everything goes wrong, at least we're having fun.
Let's all just try to have some fun with it.
It wasn't.
Heart beats fast, colors and prom. Says how to be brave. How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? But watching you stand alone, all of my doubt suddenly goes away somehow.